Ladies and gentlemen, we're here.
I'm part of the Kliq, isn't everybody?
Yes! 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 I got an idea, yeah. Beat up John Cena!
Give me a hell yeah!
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Too sweet! This is where the power lies!
I am the man.
Beat me if you can! Come on!
It's showtime, folks!
The following episode is scheduled for one fall, and it is for your listening pleasure. This is In The Kliq.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and joining me once again is my good brother from Within the Ropes and the Bulletcast. It's BrianTronic. How's it going, man?
Going great. Glad to be here. Back, the Bulletcast heavyweight champion. Universal heavyweight champion.
Yes. Okay. So I'm looking forward for, I guess, on the next episode of the Bulletcast, you're going to explain how you came into possession.
Absolutely.
Excuse me. I mean,
One, yeah.
One, air quotes here. One, the Bulletcast championship. So
I was awarded the championship like Triple H was the world heavyweight title from Eric Bischoff.
Was it in a briefcase just handed to you? You just pulled it out. I was like, I'm the champion.
Yes.
No tournament, no like qualifying matches, no like at least one match or a battle royal or
It's like an episode of Monday Night Raw.
He just like Bischoff just went into the old storage unit of WWE headquarters, Titan Towers, and just found the big gold belt, put it in a briefcase, give it to Triple H. So yeah, you and Triple H are very much one and the same now. You're
the game.
You're the game 2.0.
The game super. Yes. I'm changing my Twitter name to the game 2.0.
There you go. That you should do. Yes, absolutely. But here we are back at it for another episode of In The Kliq. So much to get into. We're actually recording live. Well, live to tape, I guess technically, because it's podcasting. Yeah. We're not streaming, which that is a goal of mine in 2022. Is I want to start streaming. Our episodes of In The Kliq, like when we do, new episodes, I want to be able to stream it live and then, post it afterwards, like video on demand and all that stuff. So that's one goal. On a side note, I haven't told you this yet, but last night I was kind of sharpening up on my video editing skills. So I was watching some, going to, as they like to call it, YouTube University, and just watching some clips on YouTube, just getting real familiar with some basic video editing I haven't done in a while. So, long-term goal as well is I want to, get our podcast, because I take the audio and put them on YouTube, and but it's just an image and the audio playing. I eventually want to do video as well. So like, you and I interacting, looking at each other right now, people can see this as well. When I do air quotes in the air, you can see actually my fingers up in the air doing it, and see my.
And then the Kliqsters will be able to see the beautiful Bulletcast Universal Heavyweight Championship spinner edition that I'm going to have made.
Exactly. Well, then,
with my face.
Yeah, we can see our facial reactions to one another, all that stuff, and just how much fun we're having. So that's a goal. Is like I want to convert. Maintain obviously In The Kliq as a audio podcast, but then bring video components into it, have it on YouTube. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe to In The Kliq on YouTube. But yeah, get the videos up there. And then once I get comfortable with that, then eventually move to the streaming side of things. So it's all step by step. It's a long-term goal of In The Kliq in 2022. And, I'll tease, I'm in the process of trying to do like a little, light, relaunch of the podcast. So hopefully got some things lined up, some new logos and imaging. There's some things in the work. I'm tapping into my resources at work and trying to see what I can come up with. So please follow us on social media as well for all the announcements and all that good stuff. So fingers crossed, it's going to be a lot of fun things lined up for this podcast going throughout the year. So yes. With that being said, you and I are recording live on a Wednesday night right after tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. And we did this on purpose because I want to get in the habit of recording more after like these big shows happen. That way, I could get the podcast out sooner, and people who like to listen to podcasts for that instant reaction, they can listen to our feedback and our input and our reviews of that stuff. And that way, I'm not like posting everything just on the weekend, spread out through the week better and stuff. So I'm trying to, improve the whole podcast, content, putting it out there for everyone. So, but yes, tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite was a big one. A lot of stuff going into this. We'll touch on that. We'll also talk about this week's episode of NXT 2.0. A lot of stuff to talk about from that episode. Because I realized, with Richard, we talk so much about Raw and SmackDown, we don't get as much time in for NXT. So maybe share the wealth, like, Brian, you and I can talk some NXT. Because that way, I want the Kliqsters to hear your opinion of stuff under the WWE umbrella as well, like NXT is. And so we'll touch on that, touch on some Dynamite. So a lot of stuff to get into. So we'll touch on NXT in a little bit. But right now, let's focus on what happened tonight. AEW Dynamite. Big show, so much hype. I don't know about you, man, but on Twitter, like people for like all afternoon were like so excited for this show, mainly due of Tony Khan's tweets from Friday night after Rampage, which you and I talked about on the last episode. He more or less said he had a surprise, a big new signing, someone coming through the forbidden door, all that stuff. So I don't know, just, what was your kind of emotions throughout the afternoon? Were you amped up like everyone else was?
Well, it took a little bit to get amped up. At first, I was like, okay, forbidden door, signing. Okay,
here we go again.
Here we go. Exactly. Initially, it was here we go again. But after a while, I'm not going to lie, as it started to get closer for the show to start, I was getting a little excited. I was like, man, this is what wrestling is all about. This is what it's about here. The surprises and being excited and, anticipation. You don't know what's going to happen. You have ideas, but you don't really know. Anything can happen. Anything can happen in All Elite Wrestling.
I'm with you. Like, and then sure enough, I forgot which wrestling news site, they put an article out and they said, here's a spoiler of who is one of the people appearing tonight. Yep. I did not click on the link. I did not want to get spoiled. And then some other people said, be careful on Twitter right now. People are revealing who it is and like spoiling it. So I actually, during like the 4 p.m. hour, I just stayed off Twitter because I was like, okay, I haven't seen anything. I'm not going to press my luck. I did not want to be spoiled. I really want to enjoy this. And anyone who knows me, they know I don't care. I usually am the one that goes look up like spoiler stuff. But this time around, I was like, I want to be surprised. If it's someone that we don't expect, I really want to feel that authentic emotion feeling. Because I feel like in today's social media world, things are always like breaking news and spoilers are posted. And so I want to have that feeling like when I was as a teenager in the 90s watching the Attitude Era and Nitro and, and Raw, WWE and like surprises and stuff and be like, oh my God. So, I'm proud of myself. I stayed off social media up until Dynamite. So let's get into this. A lot of segments here. We'll power through this. We'll give, we're not going to do a full blown play by play of every match here. We'll give our initial thoughts and stuff because there's so much that happened here. Right. Brian, off the air, you said, for me personally, I was really excited with this episode. You on the other hand felt a little bit different, and I want you to be honest to the Kliqsters. What were kind of your initial feelings of this episode?
So I still feel like the AEW Dynamite, I feel like as a whole, it's kind of all over the place. I wouldn't say that AEW is struggling, but I do feel like It's kind of all over the place right now. You know, open challenge here, open challenge there. Oh, look, here's Hangman, our champion. Whatever. You know, Jon Moxley return, Forbidden Door here, this, there. And it's kind of like all scrambled up into one big thing. And I don't really know. Some would say that's a good thing. You don't really know what to expect from what you're going to see on Dynamite and Rampage. But sometimes, you know, I want to know, like, what is it that's going to happen on tonight's episode? Because I don't want to watch and then 20 minutes, 35 minutes, maybe an hour into it, I'm like, oh, that was horrible.
Well, you brought up a good point. And as far as scrambled, and this is something we touched on last week, it's like, okay, what are the major storylines in AEW? And there's only maybe a few that have been like being played out over the last few weeks and have a clear direction. And there's a lot of stuff that's just up in the air, or like random matches are happening, or one-off matches. Yeah. But there's nothing. It's not completely focused on like all the divisions, like the main event scene, the mid card scene, the tag titles, the women's division. It's not all focused and have cleared out storylines dedicated to each one. So they do seem like they are a little bit wandering aimlessly right now, and I'm trying to figure out where they're going. Now, I think tonight's episode, some things are starting to get a little more clear of where they're going to Revolution, because that's coming up in a few weeks. Right. But I'm with you. It does get kind of frustrating where it's like, okay, say what you want to say about WWE, but at least when you turn the Raw or SmackDown, you kind of know what all the major storylines are, and they do the promos to catch you up and remind you what's been going on, so you know what the storylines are each week, and they're focused and cleared out. So I do give them credit. Now, obviously, the quality of the storylines and whatnot, that's a whole other issue, and the redo of rematches and stuff, but AEW, on the other hand, they seem to be all over the place.
Well, and also one thing I want to mention that I don't think is being talked about very much is we see a lot of the same match types and style of matches, a lot of the same mix-ups. Like we don't necessarily see rematches, but we see a lot of the same people on the same, like on Dynamite and Rampage every week. It's just a mixture of the same people, and we know that there's a ton of people on the AEW roster, and so I'm left wondering every week after an episode of Dynamite or Rampage, like, well, why isn't so-and-so on the show? You know, how come I didn't see this person or that person? You know, even in places where I'll watch a match and I'll be like, okay, that was 3 tag team matches in a row of guys who just had tag team matches on Dynamite and last week on Rampage. You know?
Yeah. I'm with you as far as, and the other thing too, now I think that's one issue AEW has. They don't have enough cleared, focused stories going right now. But also, let's be honest, I think a big crutch of theirs that they always fall back on every few months is the big element of surprise, a new big signee coming to the company. And they really rely on that hype to get people to tune in. Hopefully that leads to like a ratings boost and just getting people talking on social media, which is great, but that becomes too much of a crutch. Eventually that, I think, is going to dry out, and people are just going to be left with, like, wondering what else is there? What else do you provide for me for entertainment that I'm going to keep tuning in? Yeah, big signing every couple months, that's cool. But what goes on in between that time period? And then going back to what you said, if they don't have like consistent storylines being played out, then you're just kind of like, okay, these are just random matches I'm watching and I'm not emotionally getting involved in. So I think that's a very valid point that you just brought up there. So so let's go ahead, get into that. I mean, and granted, I think they're able to, I think as far as the big surprises and the signings, I think AEW is going to keep doing that for as long as WWE has big amount of releases. You know, one man's, you know, I'm not saying one particular, but one man's trash is another man's treasure. As far as when one company doesn't want them, AEW can pick up and take them, and in many cases do a better job with them. And fingers crossed for the new batches of people they're signing, they can do some great things. But with that being said, I'm excited to see what happens here. But yeah, I think AEW is going to constantly keep doing that. As long as WWE keeps releasing people, AEW is going to surprise people in a few months after their non-compete's up and have a big signing.
I agree.
And it's going to be this cycle for a while. So, so yeah, let's go ahead and jump into this week's episode of Dynamite. Kicked off. Finally, it's been a minute. The Pinnacle back together in the ring.
Yep.
I don't know about you. I kind of thought they were like a faction that was supposed to be the next big thing, like this generation's Four Horsemen.
Yep.
And then after a few months in their feud with Inner Circle, they just kind of went low key, quiet. They all kind of were doing separate storylines, but I guess technically they're all still together. They would come together once in a while for stuff. But I think the problem with the Pinnacle, when they got there or when they formed, the Elite started taking off, and the Elite became the top faction in AEW. So the Pinnacle had to go to the sideline for a bit. So yeah, what are your thoughts on kind of the Pinnacle? Looks like coming back together, but maybe this is them jump starting their whole faction.
Yeah, it was good to see FTR back out there. Again, another tag team, and I know they've had issues with like injuries and stuff like that over the past little while, but another team who I feel like should be on TV more, in terms of the tag team division. Don't have to have the tag titles, but still sort of just build up the division, whether you're putting guys over or not. You know what I mean? I know they had the match with Sting and Darby and, all that good stuff, right? But I just would love to see them more. Even in singles matches would be good. Sean Spears, he does his role very well. So we see him a lot every week. Yeah, no, it's so first off we see Wardlow come out with cutouts of MJF celebrating from the CM Punk match. He looked pissed off. He was setting him up, and then the other guys, the Pinnacle, FTR, then Sean Spears come out. Sean Spears, they all like champagne. So it looks like obviously they're celebrating MJF's big win over CM Punk last week, not once but twice. Yeah. CM Punk comes out. Oh, not CM Punk. I'm sorry. MJF comes out. Borderline like a Macho Man, Macho King type entrance, right? He had some pretty ladies walking down. Then he had a bunch of guys holding him in a big chair, carrying him out to the ring, which is, it just feeds into his heel persona. He cuts a promo and just, celebrating his win. But, throwing some shade at Wardlow, kind of acknowledging Sean Spears for his help, but really it was Wardlow who was doing all the work to make him look good and win. And then we see, CM Punk come out and confront him, and he wants another match. Well, he wants a match with Wardlow, and he said Wardlow's the reason, you've been winning, all this stuff. He really put over Wardlow here. So whenever Wardlow does turn babyface and turns on MJF, this promo, I think, is like a good way of reminding people how valuable Wardlow is. Yeah. I don't know, anything else from that promo up until that point that stood out? Well, yeah, it like you said, the promo, CM Punk putting over Wardlow, it really, and I notice people have been saying this, for the longest, it feels very Triple H, Batista-esque, but it's being done. I think it's being done right. I mean, I don't think there's any other way you could or even probably should look at it. I know Wardlow's Wardlow and Batista's Batista, but in my opinion, he's got a long way to go before you become the animal, but it's being done right. And I think Wardlow, we praise MJF. Wardlow he deserves credit for, the performance he puts on to, make not only himself, but MJF look and feel, you make the fans look at MJF like, oh, come on, you jerk. Like he puts the fans in positions to where they want to hate MJF even more, whether he's helping MJF or whether he's just looking over at him like, I'm tired of doing this, and fans are just anticipating and waiting,
Yeah, I mean, let me ask you this. What should be next priority for this storyline? CM Punk and MJF having a rematch, or Wardlow turning on MJF? Because I think a lot of people want to see Wardlow turn on him and have a big babyface run. I think that's still a slow burn right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a huge story beat and the creation of a new breakout star for AEW. Yeah. I don't think you want to jump into that too fast. I know it's been going on for a while. I mean, obviously they've been together on screen for a couple years now. Mm-hmm. But I think there's still some room for MJF CM Punk to tell their story. Yep. So get through that, and that'll buy you some time on TV and maybe a pay-per-view. And I think Wardlow, that can be saved for maybe the second half of the year. So that really could stretch out this really compelling storyline for most of 2022. I don't know. Is that how you're kind of feeling as well?
Well, I feel like it should probably be a little longer. I know that. Okay. I know that most wrestling fans nowadays is like we feel like we're so impatient and we want everything now. But I feel like it would be so beneficial if maybe we see Wardlow snapping out of whatever he's going through right now and sort of having MJF's back. By making sure he gets that third win over CM Punk, right? And, put it back together. Get Wardlow and MJF back together. Maybe give MJF the title shot. Have MJF win the championship. And I think from that point, it has to be long. I'm talking about Wardlow helping MJF over and over, time after time, again, until MJF, starts to feel himself a little more, and now he's a little full of himself, not appreciative and thankful of everything that Wardlow has done, and then that's when you start it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this breakup, or when Wardlow turns babyface, will be more impactful if MJF is world champion. I still think. Well, I was going to say I think MJF should be the one to dethrone Hangman and become world champion, obviously with Wardlow's help in doing so. And then I think that's a stronger story beat right there that you just brought up. It would be more impactful that even as AEW world champion, MJF still needs Wardlow to help him until eventually maybe one day he turns on him and then costs MJF lose the title, and then that sets off a program for the two of them to go at it at some point. So I know people want to see it right now. Got to be a little patient, and I think it'll have a stronger impact once MJF is world champion, and then things can because it's a long-term story. Like they like doing that, like we've seen with Hangman with his story of like the last 3 years. Yeah. Same thing could be happening here, and it would mean more if it's surrounding the world championship as well. So,
I feel like it would be a way to kind of snap the fans out of it as well, of that expectation of Wardlow turning babyface. It would just be like, you thought I'm actually going to stay with MJF. Sorry, guys. I know I make the most money with MJF. Yeah. He takes care of me. I'm good. I don't need to be world champ, right? Not necessarily turn the fans against Wardlow, but kind of make fans forget about, them breaking up. Because we all kind of see it coming right now. I feel like that would be perfect for everybody involved at that point. And I know it's hard to be patient in pro wrestling nowadays.
I know we live in a world where, this is a little outdated, but we had Vine a couple years ago. We live in a TikTok world. We live in a Reels a world where we consume content in less than 15 seconds. And so we want things instant right away. It's like, take your time, relax, let this play out. We're so used to binge watching everything in one night. No.
Maybe have Wardlow have a run with the TNT championship first, right? Have Wardlow be TNT champion, build up, because I still feel like while everyone's excited, they want him to turn, I still feel like we don't know much about Wardlow. Like I would want Wardlow to have a Jade Cargill-esque winning streak. I know he's got I know he has a really heavy winning record already. It's like something like 41-7 or something like that. Okay. But I still want him to go on and maybe he doesn't have to break up with MJF, but kind of branch off from MJF. Like he doesn't have to be next to him always.
Yeah.
You know, and kind of go on and be his own single star. Kind of like with Batista, how he was tag champs with Flair, or like Randy Orton, he was Intercontinental champion.
Okay.
You know, so then they can both have the belts and have their feuds with whoever they want. I know it's probably not going to happen because, again, like we said, the patience, and with all the top heavy stars they got, like Bryan and Punk and Moxley, and Kenny's going to come back soon, I'm sure. And, you know, now you will get into it, but more people, and you know what I mean? It's like,
I mean, like, no, you just list off all those names. I remember when AEW first started and Jericho was doing press for it, he was telling a lot of interviews. He's like, in order to start a company, you need like money. And he felt you need like 6 guys that can be in your main event scene. Yep. You just list off those names. They got a lot more than that now.
It's like more.
They got a lot of people that could circulate through that world title picture. So,
yep.
I mean, but then the issues of how you keep the other ones who are not currently involved in the title picture but are still main eventers. How do you keep them occupied in the meantime?
Need more titles.
I guess, man, they're going to do a brand split. They're going to have a Rampage Universal Championship. And so with the promo, you know, we see Wardlow kind of making faces. He's like, seems a little irritated. CM Punk comes out, he wants Wardlow, but he also wants a match against CM Punk. But CM Punk always has a requirement. It's like, if you want me, you got to pass whatever tests he throws out. CM Punk said, you know, I'll challenge you. You know, it was a match for, it was going to be what? Is it FT? Who was the main event? Or it was, FTR. That's right. Yep. So, MJF said, if you beat FTR, you get a match against me. And then CM Punk revealed, well, who do I get as a partner? I don't have a lot of friends here, which is interesting. I'm glad I did bring that up because remember, I think you and I talked before, like, CM Punk will get his ass beat and no one comes out to save him.
Exactly.
So, you know, he's as much of a baby face he is right now. He doesn't have any friends to help him out.
The lone wolf.
So he teased, we see Sting and Darby Allin come out to his aid and they had bats and they handed to him and they did tag with each other recently. But MJF says, no, you can't use them. You got to find someone else to help you out. So that tease alone, a lot of people are like, oh, is that going to be the surprise of the new signee who's is CM Punk's new partner for tonight? I
was thinking we would possibly get the return of the 5 labors of CM Punk.
Oh my God. I mean, that's the thing. MJF, he did that with Jericho, and he did it with CM Punk, like, you know, challenges. I was like, oh my God. Like, you know, it's like, I get it as a heel. You're not trying to like jump into a match with your opponent right away. You got to make them earn it. But it took way too long, especially with Jericho. It was like, by the end, it was like, hurry up. This is like going on for 6 weeks. But, and so anyway, with CM Punk, you know, after that segment, you saw he was tweeting out to like Danhausen, like, hey, you around? He tweeted Samoa Joe.
Awesome.
Was like, are you in the country right now? He was like tweeting people like, hey, can you help me? I saw some people said it would be funny if he got Colt Cabana as his partner for the night with all their bad blood. So, you know, that's leading on to later in the night, which we'll get into. We just saw Andrade backstage with Sting and Darby Allin.
Bad.
I don't get this. Like, what is Andrade doing? Like,
so bad.
I don't get it. Like, he's telling Sting, you know, you're his boss. And Sting's like, I'm not his boss. He's a grown man. He can make his own decisions. Like, you deal with him. I'm just baffled. And then Darby revealed he wants another chance at the TNT Championship. And Andrade said he wants the TNT Championship. So it's like, that's the only silver lining in this is like, okay, Andrade finally is going to go after a championship. Give him something to do. Right? I mean, that's the only probably good thing out of this. I was like, I'll take Andrade versus Sammy Guevara at some point. So, give me that. And then we saw the Blade take on Wardlow. Pretty simple match. Now, was Wardlow really injured, or was he selling it? Like the knee, or like a knee or ankle injury? He was kind of limping there for a minute.
Yeah, I don't know.
So we saw Wardlow win by pinfall with a bunch of power bombs on the Blade. Thanks, Blade, for coming. And And then next we saw another video package. We saw Penta El Zero M driving to a graveyard, and he was saying a bunch of cryptic stuff, how the mist from Malachi Black penetrated his soul, and that Malachi Black should be ready to face the consequences. And we see him like digging in the dirt, and then Penta said it's time for him to rise, and he pulls out of the dirt a red mask. So a lot of people are speculating, ooh, is this like a darker side of Pentagon, I guess you'd say. I don't know, how'd you interpret that whole scene there?
Yeah, I felt like it is we do have a darker side of Penta coming. I think it's cool considering that, I think I mentioned it the last time we recorded, is that it's a shame that every single time Penta and Phoenix get rolling, one of them get injured.
Yeah.
So, one has to sit on the sideline and the other kind of has to float around in singles matches. And then you try and pair him up with Pac, but then Pac is kind of unavailable. So, yeah, this is really cool that, Penta, or at least they're teasing some sort of return to the dark side.
Yeah, so for all you Lucha Underground fans out there, is this a return of Pentagon Dark? So should be exciting. So I'm all for that. Him and Malachi Black getting a little more evil out there on your TV screen. Next up, we saw the Inner Circle group meeting, which there's been tension between Santana Ortiz and Chris Jericho. We've been seeing that for weeks. They come out, and we see Jericho come out with Hager and Sammy Guevara, but not Santana Ortiz. They come out separately to their own music, very much a sign that, like, we're not on the same page. You guys are separate than us. But the actual promo itself, man, I don't know about you, but I was really blown away at how good this segment was for Santana Ortiz here, as far as Santana on the microphone. He was awesome here, right? I mean,
he was great.
He was so compelling and emotional and like venting his frustrations. Yeah. And more or less saying like, more or less saying what we've all been saying for a long time on the podcast, that Santana Ortiz were the big hot free agent tag team sign of theirs a few years ago. Yep. But they haven't lived up to that hype and haven't accomplished anything. And he is more or less saying, Chris, it's your fault. We've always been coming to your aid, protecting you, saving you, making sure you've been champion, all this stuff. But at the same time, that put our career on hold, and we haven't accomplished anything. And now it's time for a change. We're due for we want to be tag team champions and stuff. I felt that, man. How about you? Just feeling that promo?
Yeah, it was good. It was, I was really surprised. It's one thing to go out there and cut a promo, but then it's another thing to go out and cut a promo, and the person you're cutting a promo against, you can almost see in their eyes like that they feel it. Like it makes you wonder, like, yo, is there really some tension here? Because like even when he kept telling Jericho, like, no, put your mic down, I'm still talking. It's just like, oh, and then Jericho kind of like looks away and he kind of like smiles to, like dust it off. It's just like, yo, like this is good stuff. It felt real. This whole segment at first, it felt like NWO Hollywood versus NWO
Santana Ortiz going to come out the red vest next week.
It felt like they were splitting off the faction. You're going to have two versions of, especially when Sammy kind of like got in the middle there, and was like, hey, like we're family, we're family. It felt like Hogan and Macho, or Hogan and Nash, and you got, I don't know, Bischoff getting in the middle, like, hey, come on, guys.
Man, so it was interesting because I love Jericho, friend of the show, all that stuff. And he had some good responses. And he said, it's like, don't blame. I agree with he said too. He told them, like, you guys failed. You had an opportunity at a title shot a year ago and you lost. So don't blame your shortcomings because of me. Like, you got to take some of the blame and ownage on that. So I do understand both had valid points. But at the same time, Santana was really the star here. You know what I mean? So that was great. like for Santana, really just, I think this was like a breakout moment for him as far as cutting a promo, and that Santana Ortiz, I think, can stand on their own as a tag team. Then Sammy Guevara jumps in and says, you guys need to figure this out. In the meantime, he takes off his vest, throws it down, and he walked away again like he did. Was that last year, right? When he took a time off and he had he was going to go to Impact, and that whole thing fell apart and stuff. So it's interesting. And then, Jericho took a shot and said maybe the Inner Circle took the wrong 2 members of LAX. And dude, that was a dig. And then he told Hager, you got numbers for a Homicide and Hernandez, and that set off Santana. But I was kind of laughing. I was like, why is he asking Hager? Like, does Hager know? Homicide Hernandez. Like, I don't think they ever crossed paths or done anything. So
maybe Hager has is in contact with Conan or something.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I love this segment, and so I don't know what's going to happen. Oh, so then Jericho said, if you guys want to fight, let's have a fight. So next week, Hager and Jericho versus Santana Ortiz. So I think this is the beginning of the end, man. The Inner Circle.
I do too. I think it's the beginning of the end. I'm just so mad that they didn't have more members and that they could split it off like Hollywood and Wolfpack.
That would have been interesting. I mean, I think it's long overdue.
Yeah.
Inner Circle were great the first couple of years of AEW's existence, but listen, all factions run their course for the most part. The rare occasion is like the New Day or something where they've been able to stay relevant for so long. But most factions do have a burnout factor after a couple years. They serve their purpose, I think, being the top heel faction in the early years of AEW.
Yep.
Were great, with the Cody Rhodes feud there, and Cody's team against Inner Circle those early years. I don't hear me saying early years, like a couple years ago now, but so
they were really good co-hosts for Jericho. They honestly, I'm not sure they last this long if it weren't for Jericho's theme.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, totally.
The theme stuck them together like glue.
And then and then when they made kind of their babyface turn when they were going against the Pinnacle and stuff, that gave them some fresh.
That gave them a little extra time. You know?
Bought some extra time, some fresh blood or fresh life.
But I don't think they capitalized on it like fully, like all of them. I think Hager kind of took a went down. What was it? Who was he going after?
Did he have match with Moxley for the title?
Macho. But I'm saying during that time, it was him and Wardlow were kind of I think after that was the end of Hager.
yeah. Which saw him back on TV tonight, first time in a minute. So
no explanation.
I'm just playing the devil's advocate here, or they are AEW is bringing a lot of new talent, and I think it was a Tony Khan or someone. There's a report saying he can't keep everyone that he signed 3 years ago. So there's going to be a lot of contracts he's not going to renew. I kind of wonder if Inner Circle's breaking up because of like breaking up, and maybe this is like the writing is on the wall. Maybe Hager is on his way out or something because they haven't been using him on TV for anything. I mean, Sammy Guevara is TNT champion. He's still wearing the double belts. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. He's a pillar of AEW. Santana Ortiz, which
I'm so happy about. Because Guevara, seeing him in that opening match, right? What was it? Was it Double or Nothing, or was it Dynamite? I'm not sure.
Oh,
it was Double or Nothing. The very first show.
Him and Kip Sabian.
Man, I fell in love with Sammy that night. I always knew who he was. I just never really got into him. But that night, I was like, this is going to be their future.
Where's Kip Sabian? Is he still injured?
I think he's been sitting ringside with
a bag over his head. Is that him with the bag over his head? Yeah. So anyway,
another guy. Hold on, another guy that we got to look forward to is Miro. He's going to be coming back soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, totally, dude. AEW's roster is stacked. It's a mixture of their day oneers, the stars that they brought in and created, former WWE guys that still have name value and whatnot are still very good, and some top NXT stars.
Yep.
And potentially just other recruits, indie guys that they're getting. So I really like this blend of the roster right now. And this is something I was going to bring up later, but I can say it now. So I tweeted out, it's really amazing in 3+ years of AEW's existence, how much the roster has changed and grown from 2019 to 2022, how different it is. I mean, arguably, I think it's for the better, hands down. I mean, no offense, to like the earlier roster or the first roster, they signed like Frankie Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, a lot of great, veterans, reliable, great wrestlers. But now you got CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, guys that are such a huge draw and name and legends in this business.
And Huey, and you said, former NXT guys, like they got the top guys that were in NXT. Like it's, I still, when I look at it and think, it's still crazy to me. Like, oh my God, like do we think Tony did it? Tony Khan did it.
It's like, and this is something maybe we can think about and maybe discuss more at another time.
Yeah.
For anyone who hated AEW and were pro like NXT during the Wednesday night wars, how do you feel now when most of those guys that you were cheering for in NXT are now in AEW? It's like, now this is a good time to jump on the bandwagon or whatever to watch the show. You don't have to watch every match or care about every person on the roster, but there are guys that you were a fan of on NXT that are now in AEW. I think it's okay. And there are people I know who criticize AEW to me still. And I'm like, and the people that they're criticizing, wait, a year ago you were a fan of that person in NXT. Like, don't be a hypocrite. Yeah. I hate that. That is annoying.
Yep.
It just shows that you just don't want to hate. You just don't want to like this company, no matter what. It's okay to like both shows, both promotions. We're wrestling fans. You can like it all. It's okay.
The beauty of it.
Yes, you don't have to pick sides here. Yep. So yeah, with the matchup with Inner Circle, I imagine Santana Ortiz is probably going to win. They're going to go off in the tag team scene. And I think going off what you said last week, how the tag team division has been kind of lackluster lately. Hopefully them entering the scene can really pick things up and hopefully be number one contenders pretty soon.
Look, I said that and they announced the tag title match for Rampage. I'm pulling for the Gun Club.
Oh my God. I got 2 words for you. New champs or whatever Billy Gunn said.
You better be careful.
Vince is like, I'm going to get you. But, and so it'll be interesting what happens, though.
2 words. I'm sorry. 2 words came through the forbidden door.
That's what he took from it. But I just want to know, once Inner Circle breaks up, like, what happens to Jericho next? Because in this promo, he kind of seemed more of the heel here. And I was like, is he going to go back to being a heel? I don't know, what does he do now? Like, the main event scene's really busy, really full. So I don't know where his place is as well. So, I mean, it's a good time. He's going to go on tour in a couple months. So I just thought of it. So yeah, if he loses this tag team match, it's a good way of writing him off TV for a while.
Yep.
Boom. We just came up with it. Tony, call us.
There it is.
So, next up, we saw Shivani backstage interviewing. I'm going to butcher. How do you say it?
Roppongi Vice.
Roppongi Vice, which is just Trent and Rocky Romero from New Japan. Their connection there. And, talking about their match against the Young Bucks. Young Bucks come walking in with Adam Cole. I'm like, oh, they're the Young Bucks. Welcome back. Haven't seen them in a minute.
We summoned them.
But then they attack those guys, and then Adam Cole invites a friend. And all of a sudden, out walking, we see the back of a leather jacket with the sling blade, slices. It's Jay White, man. Wow. And he helps out. Young Bucks are all staring at him like, whoa, wait, what are you doing here? Yeah, man. So, I don't know. Is Jay White, he's not officially All Elite. He didn't get the official Tony Khan All Elite graphic tweeted out. But your thoughts, man? Jay White, Bullet Club, New Japan, making an appearance on AEW.
It's great. It's funny that he came and actually kind of helped him beat up on Roppongi Vice, but it was cool. Jay White is someone who grew on me, over the years, and it's just like, wow, like to see him in AEW, it's like, oh, like this is so cool. Like now I'm starting to feel like why people want so badly for like, or enjoy so much how companies work with other companies and these crossover, these fantasy matches, fantasy booking. When you see stuff like that come to life, it's like, yes, like I don't care what contract you sign, you're just on my TV right now, like perfect,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so cool, and it was such a slick way and a different way to debut somebody, or have someone come through the forbidden door, rather than it being top of the show or running through the crowd or anything like that. Just for him to come in the frame, in the shot, and have Adam Cole and the Young Bucks kind of back up like, oh yeah, look who it is.
So if I remember correctly, Jay White lives here in America. It's tough to travel to Japan right now, obviously, with everything going on. So that's why he's been doing like stuff with, I think on Strong and whatnot, but doing stuff in Impact Wrestling for a bit, making an appearance there. So it seems like this is a way to like, keep him occupied wrestling here in America. So yeah, it's cool that.
If I'm not mistaken, I don't know, we might have to check and look it up, but I think his New Japan contract might be coming up.
But didn't he? I guess that was after last year's Wrestle Kingdom, right? Remember the big tease?
Yeah.
He said he was going to leave, but he actually re-signed another deal.
Yeah.
Was it a 1 year thing?
I think sure. It might have been. I don't know.
Well, I'm excited. I mean, Jay White is a star, and I think him joining Bullet Club. Like I wasn't paying attention closely what he was doing over there, but it seemed like he helped keep Bullet Club going as far as being relevant post Kenny Omega and the Elite leaving. So I'm excited. He's an amazing wrestler, so I think for him this could be his biggest stage to date as far as the audience goes to watch him. So I'm excited. So but later tonight, we see Young Bucks and Adam Cole doing a promo, and Young Bucks are like, why you invite him here? You didn't tell us, and don't you know him and Kenny have like bad blood and stuff? So it's going to be interesting, man, see how this plays out. It's kind of crazy. Kenny Omega has been away for what, over 3 months now, or almost since November. Yeah. So, is this going to lead to, once again, the Elite versus Bullet Club? Because Adam Cole said, listen, guys, remember, we all took an oath. We're all Bullet Club for life. So he's a member of Bullet Club. We're all good, man. So, and
I seen Tama Tonga on Twitter kind of put the, what did he do? He put the little emoji eyes or something, or something. He did something. He was kind of like, I don't know about that. Like,
yeah, didn't he say his contract's up too, or last month?
Yeah, something like that.
So
it's so interesting.
Originally, we thought it was going to be Undisputed Era or members of Undisputed Era versus the Elite at some point.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to get a revival of Bullet Club versus the Elite, which was a major Civil War storyline in New Japan a few years ago with Cody and Kenny Omega.
Yep.
I wonder if we're going to get something like that. I'm excited for that. And if that keeps them all busy outside of the title picture, that's fine. And give me it. I'll take it.
Or even better. Yes. Or even better. If this is a way to get Cody back involved with them, then I'm all for it too.
Maybe Cody is leading the Bullet Club guys.
Maybe.
I was surprised. Cody wasn't on tonight, man. Nope. I miss him. I miss Cody so much. I do.
Cody, man, just tell the fans to stick it.
He will. He's gonna be the leader of the Bullet Club or something like that. That's what's gonna happen. So next up, we saw Isiah Kassidy come out to the ring. Got a lot of people excited. It's like, okay, who's his mystery opponent? Allegedly the signee for Tony Khan. Come out of break. It's a match. It's a qualifying match for the Face of the Revolution ladder match. all of a sudden, man, music hits and you see "Bask in My Glory" and boom, Keithley, the letters on the big screen. The man comes out, the crowd pops and roars. Brian, tell me, man, your thoughts on seeing Keith Lee back on TV?
I don't know what was louder, the crowd reaction to his music or the crowd reaction to Adam Cole's music when it dropped at All Out. Like,
okay,
they were very similar, which tells you how big of a deal Keith Lee really is. And you know, seeing him walk through that tunnel and, you know, with this normal gear on, and I have to say, sidebar, AEW wins in terms of theme songs. Like, they got the best wrestling theme songs out right now. And it's just a shame WWE is taking such a fall. They've got some good stuff, but
WWE lately, it's just like it's a constant loop of like a beat or something. It's
very generic.
Yeah, generic.
Like Austin Theory just got new music, and I like it because it has words. You know what I mean? Like,
I gotta pay attention.
Yeah, he had no music on Monday, and it's better than what it was before.
Okay. What do you think of Ricochet's new music?
Ricochet's new music is okay.
Okay, I like the original one. Like
the original,
and only.
Yes.
Dun, 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 dun. Like, it gets me amped up. It feels like a superhero theme song. Like,
it does.
A superhero like going through a training montage, like coming after like a bad defeat. Like they're getting back into shape, ready for the next big fight, the finale, like a superhero's montage. So
it feels like it, and same with Finn's. Like, I'm glad they haven't touched Finn's, because Finn's is, you know, it has that feeling whenever you hear it. It's like, like it lets you know, like, there goes Finn, you know. But Keith Lee debuting in AEW, the music was great. He looked great. My first reaction was, wow, you know, like he's back. I couldn't believe it.
He's here, man. It's the sky's the limit as far as what his potential, what's his ceiling in AEW, because I think a lot of fans had high hopes of what his potential was going to be in WWE on the main roster. We never got to see it, but now it's like, what can he accomplish here?
Yeah.
And maybe have more freedom to do stuff. Like, it's exciting, but at the same time, it's a little nervous because, as we said, there's so many people in the main event, even the mid-card scene now. But I think he can dominate the mid-card scene for a while and, you know, take your time, build him up. And because remember, he was in NXT, but he was like here or there. He was like used sporadically. It wasn't until the rivalry with Dijakovic where he really started getting on TV more regular, if I remember right. That was the end of 2019.
Yep.
Or most, the majority of 2019, I should say. So,
well, then they had that takeover match too, right?
Yeah, in Portland. Yeah. So I think the sky's the limit with him. He is limitless. So I'm excited. But yeah, this match here, pretty one-sided. He dominated Isiah Kassidy. And Isiah Kassidy, to his credit, dude, he was selling his ass off, being thrown around. But Matt Hardy, he just walks away. He like looks scared, climbs over the barricade and leaves. And was it Jim Ross or someone said Matt Hardy's showing signs of erratic behavior?
Yes.
Is that a play on a joke of like Jeff Hardy, you know, back in December, get out of the ring and just walk over the barricade and just leave through the crowd and said his erratic behavior? Was that a total dig like on Jeff Hardy?
Sure was.
Or play on?
Yep, it sure was.
So what's going to happen? Are Private Party done with Matt Hardy? Like, is he going to give up on them? Which I hope so. Let them go back to being a dominant, fun tag team in the division.
I hope so too. But you know what? If I'm Private Party, I would look at Matt like, you never really gave us an opportunity to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, it was supposed to be us and you. And now all of a sudden you got the Butcher, the Bunny, the Blade. You got all these different people coming in.
Andrade.
Got
the highlighter team. The team, wait, who the guys with the neon colors, those guys. What happened to them?
Oh, yeah. Freaking Angelico and
they're probably going to be gone.
Jack Evans.
Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
probably.
I don't mean, but yeah.
No, you're probably right.
Right.
But I liked the match. Keith Lee was great. I'm glad he did the what is it, where he jumps up. I forgot the actual the name of the move where he jumps over you and he drops down to the mat and then he hit him with the crossbody.
Ground Zero or
it was just a little sequence that he usually does where he throws you against the ropes, he jumps in the air, and then he hits the mat, and you like go over him, and then he hit him with the crossbody.
But Lee fires up and swats an Insecurity.
The leapfrog, the little leapfrog, that Keithley did, and then drops to the mat. It's a little sequence he does it, and I'm glad he did that because again, it reminds us just how,
off the ropes, leapfrog, and a crossbody.
Yes, it just reminds us. Yeah. It reminds us how quick and athletic Keithley really is, even at his size. I knew Jim Ross. I knew I was going to hear Jim Ross play on his size. He loves his big dudes.
Didn't he say? Reminds me of Mark Henry. Mark Henry. And JR just sounded like so excited to see him. Yes. It's like, how we get this guy? Yep. But Tony Khan did tweet out earlier after the show. He said, "I didn't secure Jay White until Sunday. I realized after the fact that Friday night I butchered my own definition of Forbidden Door and hyping tonight. I heard the fans' feedback and wanted to ensure that tonight was a special AEW Dynamite for all. Thank you, everyone who watched." So it looks like the tweet last week when he said someone's coming through the Forbidden Door, signing a contract, slamming the door in the previous company. It was all about Keith Lee.
Right.
But as you and I talked about and stuff, everyone said, wait, Forbidden Door originally meant like two companies working together and like talent exchange.
Yep.
You're making it sound like, okay, one person's like Keith Lee. It's just a free agent signing.
Right.
It's just opening the door for him to walk through. It's not like some Forbidden Door like promotions working together. He's just a free agent signing. It's a one-way street here. Mm-hmm. So at least Tony Khan's admitting he kind of screwed up the definition of the Forbidden Door. So I wonder because of that, that's why he made this last-minute deal for Jay White to appear. So
I'm sure.
That's cool, man. We got two surprises tonight.
The fact that he was able to, because you start to think when you don't see these guys come over after all the time working with Impact, and then at the time during working with Impact, you see Jay White show up there, and then he doesn't show up in AEW. You sort of think like, yo, what's going on, dude? Does he not want him? Does Jay White not want to go over there?
Yeah. No, I'm with you as far as, Jay White show up at Impact, but not in AEW. Made you kind of wonder what was the status of AEW and Impact's relationship. There isn't much right now because ever since Kenny Omega dropped the title, and we haven't seen the Good Brothers do anything in AEW. So it was all Don Callis and Kenny Omega looked like making that relationship go. But so hopefully, maybe we can get some three-way here between Impact, AEW, and New Japan at some point. So So it's just great seeing Keith Lee, though. I'm happy. It was kind of fun. You and I were talking off the air. So, we said it last week. Congrats to him and Mia Yim. Got married last Saturday. Yesterday, Mia Yim posted a photo on Twitter. It looked like the two of them were out on vacation. I looked at the photo and something was off to me because I saw photos of their wedding and Mia Yim had a lot of blue in her hair. But this vacation photo... She didn't have a lot of blue in her hair. I was like, wow, her hair looks different than a couple days ago. And then even Keith Lee, I noticed his hair in the vacation photo was a little grayer. His beard had a lot of gray showing. And I was like, that doesn't seem right. So I looked at photos from his wedding day. And everything was dyed black. And his beard was thicker on his face. And I was like... And then I realized that's a swerve. Mia Yim posted this old vacation photo on Twitter, I think, to throw people off thinking they're out of the country. So there's no way Keith Lee's showing up on Dynamite. Sure enough, he did show up. So smart move on their part, trying to use social media to throw people off a little bit. And then what you said, someone said they realized it was an old vacation photo from 2020.
Yeah, someone had posted a picture of her with the same exact outfit on, same bikini top, same shades, same hairstyle, and then I think it was from 2020.
Okay.
So
I give him an A for effort trying to throw a swerve, bro. So So no, I'm happy for Keith Lee. See what he does next. Next up, we saw CM Punk take on FTR. A lot of people are like, who's his? Okay, we already had two people show up: Jay White, Keith Lee.
Yep.
Are we going to get a third one? I think a lot of people were hoping it was going to be Samoa Joe as a tag partner. But no, sure enough, it was just Jon Moxley, which is cool. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it was okay.
Yeah,
and I think that's
like,
that's kind of where I feel like the whole Forbidden Door thing and the relying on the debuts or surprises, promising the fans surprises and not specifying how many they are, which obviously you probably don't want to do that, but it kind of leaves for things like this to happen, people to make assumptions or have high expectations, and then all of a sudden, not to say Jon Moxley is a flop or a horrible partner for CM Punk, like I don't think that at all, but it does kind of leave some disappointment, like dang, I wanted that to be Samoa Joe, or oh man, I wanted that to be whoever. I honestly thought it was going to be Samoa Joe too, and I was holding my breath like when Punk's music stopped, and then it was Moxley's. I was like,
Well, maybe at Revolution, there's still hope. Maybe at Revolution they'll save another big reveal or something like that. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, no, it was still a great match. Don't get me wrong. It was great seeing Moxley and CM Punk together. For us older fans, we remember when the Shield debuted in WWE years ago, and the rumor was CM Punk wanted to be the leader of the Shield. And I remember on TV, like CM Punk was hinting right at a group to help protect him or something. It's been so long now, and and I think the original plan was he was going to bring up these three guys from NXT to be his heavy to protect him. Yeah. But then when the Shield ended up debuting, they just tacked Ryback and they just went on do their own thing by themselves. So we never got to see that play out. So kind of nice to see them in the ring.
Punk never really got what he wanted in WWE, man. And I think ultimately that's why he ended up leaving. Like, he put in so much work and so much time and effort and his body on the line, and he never got the main event match. He never got the placement on the card that he wanted and deserved.
Yeah.
I was mad at WrestleMania 29 when he didn't beat The Undertaker. I'm such a CM Punk fan. That was the worst WrestleMania in the world for me. I was so mad. I was certain he was going to beat The Undertaker, but
That's right. And he had to earn with Paul Heyman. All that stuff. Okay. Yeah. And then, so we, but no, great match, great old school match. Just Moxley was getting beat up most of it, and CM
a lot
Punk,
of near falls.
A lot of near falls. CM Punk finally got the hot tag, came in, and then we saw, had to play it out here. They win by when Punk hit the go to sleep on Cash Wheeler for the win. So, great match, fun, alignment. Now we know at least CM Punk has another friend outside of Sting and Darby Allin. He has Jon Moxley as a friend to help back him up. So, next up we saw Jade Cargill defend the AEW TBS Women's Championship on TBS. Good to see her, be a regular on TBS.
Yes.
Took on A.Q.A, which I didn't know who that was at first, and I realized it's the girl that was on NXT, right? Booker T's former student. What was her original name? She's known for doing the Shooting Star Press.
Shooting Star Press.
Zayda Ramir. Am I pronouncing it right? Hopefully I'm not butchering it. But I was like, when did she get released? Was it it
might have been when the bulk of, because they let a lot of people go who
was that back in November?
I think so. It was, or maybe before then. Maybe even before then. It might have been like the longer, because I think she's been like doing her thing.
Yeah.
Since, you know what I mean? Like since then or during then. It might have been the list of people who got released
like September
during like a random episode of SmackDown. It was, was that too long ago?
I'm trying to remember. I'll look it up more, but she made her debut in WWE in March 2021. So she was gone from NXT within less than a year. So that's kind of a bummer. She was like she had a good match on NXT, right? One week, like a competitive match with someone. I'll have to look it up, but I kind of wonder, maybe she'll get a job with AEW. But the match itself, she put up a good fight. Got to do the shooting star press on Jade Cargill, but Jade kicked out and still dominated and ended up picking the victory here. Anything else from this match that stood out for you?
Jade's getting better.
And she's been training with Bryan Danielson. Do you hear about that?
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
That is awesome. She's been getting better, and I'm glad now. At first, I was skeptical. I'm not gonna lie about pushing Jade, someone who was, green.
Yeah.
Finger quotes. Someone who was green. I was a little skeptical about pushing all the way, keeping her undefeated, having her win the TBS championship. But I'm kind of glad they did it. It's, everyone needs an opportunity. Everyone at least deserves a shot. You know what I mean? You don't know what you got unless you give them a shot. So
yeah,
I'm glad that, and she's coming along really, really well. Honestly, one of the reasons why I feel like the women's division in AEW is being taken a little more serious and being held up a little bit more. I mean, outside of Britt Baker, of course, but Britt Baker's not having any matches. So
yeah, we just saw a promo where she just confirmed that she paid Mercedes Martinez and just promoting her match with Thunder Rosa. So it's like, yeah, Britt Baker needs to be wrestling more.
She's not a wrestling champion. Okay, she's not a fighting champion like Charlotte.
And then I was kind of surprised they had two women's matches back to back of each other, which I just kind of looking at the crowd reaction, they seem to kind of die down a little bit, which is unfortunate because I love Serena Deeb. She's badass. I like what she's doing now. She's doing the 5-minute challenge, just taking on rookies, and she destroyed Katie Arquette, her name, in a minute. Like she was taking her time, looking at the clock, and just submitted her real quick. So that might be something kind of fun for Serena Deeb to do. She's just, take out all the young people. Then maybe someone eventually is gonna.
It'll be good. It'll work good for the Forbidden Door or the signings as well.
Yeah. So I wonder maybe they'll find. What if it's Toni Storm or something to come out and just get her?
I thought Mia Yim was gonna hit the tunnel.
Oh, okay, the challenge.
Because when she did it, I was like, oh, this is a really dope way to get Mia Yim in if that's what they're gonna do.
And that's the thing. They haven't really. I mean, I guess Ruby Soho, but they haven't really done like a big women's free agent signing in a minute.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what this. It's like an open challenge, but it's a 5-minute challenge. So maybe at some point she's going to just beat up a bunch of rookies, and then one day someone's going to come and it's like, oh my God, that woman's with AEW now. Awesome. So that'd be kind of cool. Last but not least, main event, Hangman Adam Page defending the championship, AEW championship against Lance Archer, Texas Deathmatch. I think a lot of people forgot that the title was on the line tonight. They were so focused on everything else on this card. It was like, oh yeah, the champion's here. I don't know if that's good or bad though, that Hangman's title reign in some ways is a little bit of an afterthought. I don't know, man. How you feeling about Hangman so far?
To me, that is why I ended up ultimately not really liking the show as much, because I'm not gonna lie, I did forget. I forgot, and once it was time for the Texas I know they promoted it like maybe once or twice throughout the show, but then after a while it's just like, oh, this is the championship match. I was like, I don't like that. I don't like it for Hangman. I don't like it for the championship and how prestige it's been thus far. Up to this point, it's been a very prestige, very well respected. I mean, even when they were working with Impact, it's like, Christian literally said, I don't want this. It literally said, I want that title, like basically saying he didn't care about the Impact Championship, but like, I feel like Hangman's not getting really a fair shot, and maybe because of all the signings and debuts and other stories that other people are interested in, like even like Danielson and Moxley, Adam Cole and the Young Bucks, and the anticipation of Kenny Omega coming back, hopefully, soon, whenever he's all the way 100%. The debut of Keithley tonight.
Miro, you brought up.
Gonna come back.
Well, and that's the other thing too, like, coming back about staying focused on your storylines. Yeah, no follow-up so far, Bryan Danielson and Moxley, and Brian's proposal to Moxley.
and not one of those individuals that Brian spoke of in sight at all on tonight's episode of Dynamite.
Yeah,
no Lee Moriarty, no Daniel Garcia, no Wheeler Yuta, nobody.
I wonder, maybe like the next Bryan Danielson match, maybe the three of them all sit ringside. Kind of like old school, like was it Eddie and Perry Saturn, Dean Malenko, and Benoit, like like kind of like that. Like these guys, the young guys, sit there and watch Bryan Danielson. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how they kind of handle this storyline.
Well, and they said Bryan will speak on Rampage, so I guess that should be cool or whatever.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. But the match itself was pretty badass as far as I was in pain watching this. It felt like it's been a minute since we saw some blood. I guess the last one was Hangman versus Bryan Danielson. Their first match, their rematch on, was it the January 5th episode of Dynamite, or Dynamite's debut on TBS.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen a lot of blood, so they're probably like, hey man, it's been over a month, we need blood on TV again. It's like they got we have minimum at least once a month we need blood on AEW television.
It's time.
But dude, I mean, Hangman was getting his ass beat, like being thrown around. Lance Archer looked like a beast here. I know your thoughts on how this thing played out.
Yeah, it was such a good, like I said, Shawn Michaels, Vader-esque, and no disrespect to, the HBK or HBK fans out there. Again, I know he's not HBK, but just, little guy versus the big monster, the big guy, and like you said, he was serving some damage to Hangman, and I thought it told a great story. I thought Hangman getting up and being able to fight him. I think even from the start of the match, it's starting in the back, them not even making it to their entrances. I thought that was good too, because it's like, hey, like it's for the title. This is a what is it, a Texas
death match?
Texas death match.
But like throwing through the glass as well. Lance Archer went through that glass. But then also like at one point, Lambert, to his credit, smart strategy, cut off the top rope so he couldn't Hangman can't do the buckshot lariat.
Yep.
But then Lance took Hangman and threw him, and he had the steel steps turned sideways, and when he landed on his back on that looked
the steps.
That looked painful just watching it. And just the back and forth, the blood dripping down on both of them. But eventually Hangman took the barbed wire, or Archer brought a chair and had the barbed wire on it. Hangman grabbed the chair, took the barbed wire, wrapped it around his arm, and started trying to punch or hit Lance. And eventually, cool finish, he used the ref to launch himself to do the buckshot lariat. Still landed on Lance Archer. They went flying outside through the tables. Amazing spot right there. That was incredible.
Yeah. Very clever way. And again, like something, this happens a lot, I think, in AEW too, is that just when you think like, this match is okay, something happens and it's literally takes you out of your seat. Like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. Just like the TNT, unified or undisputed TNT title match.
Yeah.
No one saw Sammy. I mean, we knew Sammy was going to do some crazy stuff. Yeah. But the cutter off the top of the ladder, like that was great.
So no, I love them finding little things like that to be inventive and different. So that was cool. And then, Hangman celebrating. Adam Cole comes out. He said earlier tonight, he wanted to send a message. And remember on Rampage last week, he said he wants to go after the AEW championship. So he comes in the ring, grabs the belt, put it on Hangman's shoulder, like pats him on the shoulder, and then walks out. So he's calling his shot. He's telling Hangman, hey man, I want to be the next challenger. So I'm like, wow, okay, maybe that's going to be the main event for Revolution then. I think it's a little soon.
I think it's a little soon too.
Because for me, I imagine, because I think it's too soon maybe for Adam Cole to win the title, because I don't think he's had enough like credible opponents to. We know he's an amazing wrestler, we love him, but I don't think he's had enough credible opponents in AEW to propel him into that main event scene. And at the same time, I don't want to have a match with Hangman and lose, and you just kind of he has to start all over again. So I think it's a little too soon.
Well, and me, I feel like AEW needs to create more things that give people opportunities to even get a title shot. I mean, not to brag or not brag, but not to like whine or complain or anything. But like, honestly, the way Cole came out, and I mean, aside from the records, because people can argue and say that, oh, well, he's the number one ranked contender right now for the AEW title. Okay, that's fine. But how many people have been ranked number one or have had a better record than someone else, or just even record based on how many matches they've had? I think it's still not clear to this day on how the ranking system in AEW works.
Yeah, I was gonna look because like what's his record, like 11-0 or something like that. I'm just making it
it's
up.
11-0. Yeah, I think it is.
But then imagine someone else that's like 25-2. Like, is that technically that person has more wins now?
41-7, like Wardlow.
So yeah, I mean, like he has more wins, but obviously the win percentage favors Adam Cole because he's undefeated, but he just has a lot less wins. And then you go into like college football or college sports in general, NCAA. You have the quality of wins. So it's like, sure, someone can have like 20 wins, but it was against like bad teams versus someone that might be like 15-5, but their 5 losses are to like top 10 teams or something. You know what I mean? Like the quality of wins as well. So sure, someone might have a better record, but this person with the losses actually had a tougher schedule and actually beat some better teams. So that's why my one thing I get a little frustrated with the whole ranking system in AEW is, sure, just like on straight numbers, Jade Cargill, 26-0, wherever her record is now, undefeated, awesome. But the majority of them are against, jobbers on AEW Dark or Elevation.
Exactly.
So if she can get like 5 more wins against like, top female competitors like, a Thunder Rosa or Ruby Soho, Serena Deeb, like, then you're like, oh my God, okay, now she's a legit threat. She's taking the other top names from that division. So that's my one issue with the whole ranking system, which you get kind of caught up in these scenarios that like, that doesn't make sense here. So
and with Cole, and look, Cole I love Cole. I feel like he could have main evented WrestleMania, but but listen, Cole is more than capable and more than deserving. I feel like, of being in the world title picture, challenging for a world title, but coming out, grabbing the belt, and doing that whole gig is kind of like, and then I agree with you too, Huey. I feel like it's too early. I feel like I want Hangman to have a chance, an opportunity. Give Hangman Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara's been on a roll. Just because Sammy Guevara's TNT champion doesn't mean he can't go after the AEW title.
Yeah,
or something like that. Give him some more opponents before you get to Adam Cole, and build it up a little more. Yeah,
because I'm just worried here, because if Hangman Adam is the next match, it's a lose-lose situation. Because like, okay, if Adam Cole wins, then Hangman's title reign is really short, and people could kind of complain that it's just kind of lackluster. If Adam Cole loses, you're like, okay, he's the big free agent signing from the end of last year, and you kind of rush him to the championship match, and he lost, and it's like, okay,
hot shotting. A lot of people would say hot shotting.
You ruin his momentum then. So I don't know. I'm a little concerned about that, but we'll see how it goes. But a lot of stuff to look forward to on Dynamite moving forward, and as we continue on that road to Revolution. So looking forward to that. I know we're running long here. I know we're going to talk about NXT 2.0. Let's just power through this real quick. Brian, we'll just quick thoughts and stuff. Okay. We saw the semifinals of the Dusty Classic for the men's side. We saw the Creed brothers defeat GYV. We also saw MSK defeat Malik Blade and Idris and
Enofe.
I'm sorry. Enofe. Yeah. Anything from those two matches that stood out for you?
Creed brothers are amazing.
Yes, absolutely.
GYV are also amazing, and I think that there should be some seriousness put to. I know they got a little gimmick right now.
Yeah, a little goofy. It's like they a year ago that match with MSK in the finals last year was amazing.
Yes,
but they kind of gone array of like more of this goofy side of things. I'm like, no, GYV is so good.
MSK, Malik Blade, they made Malik Blade and Idris Enofe look good, and I think that's all that matters. They didn't need to win this match.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you look at like March Madness, they were the big upset in the first round. They got that big win over oh my god,
it was was it Joe Gacy? Legato. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So they had a big, like, they're like the 16 seed or 15 seed.
They made it into the tournament via disqualification because Harlan wouldn't break the hold. Harlan and Joe Gacy had fought them to see who would get into the tournament. So then they survive Harlan and Joe Gacy, and then they survive Legado del Fantasma, and I thought it was a good moment for the young up and coming team. Like, oh my God, can they do it? But of course.
And I do laugh at their segments backstage with Mandy Rose as well. So poor Malik, after praying for Mandy Rose, she comes running in last week, lands in his arms, and then he's like all happy, and then she runs away, and then he's like, I can't stand up, man. Give me a minute. So I love this team. So hopefully we'll get more of them. But yeah, the Creed brothers, dude, as green as they are, they're badass, hard-hitting, believable in the ring. What they maybe lack as far as experience, they do bring a legit wrestling background to the ring, and they just stand out. It's so good. I early prediction, do you think they're going to win this thing? Or it's good. So them versus MSK in the finals next week.
I feel like they've got to win it.
Yeah.
I feel like they have to. I feel like the Creed brothers have to win it.
Okay.
I know that MSK has a lot of momentum. They've got the fans back on their side, right?
Yeah.
After all the drama that they went through post Black and Gold era. But I feel like you got to give it to the Creed brothers and kind of continue to usher in that new era. You know what I mean?
And I think they're destined to probably be tag champions at some point.
Yeah.
Also, we saw Tiffany Stratton take on Wendy Choo. Now, Wendy Choo, her gimmick, she just sleeps everywhere. Is she supposed to be like a rib on Orange Cassidy?
Listen,
like, is that what they're trying to do? They're trying to poke fun at Orange Cassidy's nonchalant attitude, and
maybe. I mean, I would look at it. I would look at it more as not poking fun, but sort of like saying, "Hey, we can do this. We can do this too." You guys got your, lovable, likable Orange Cassidy. We can, we choo choo. We got the Wendy Choo train here.
Her character is very indie type character. She's like the most indie type character there. But dude, Tiffany Stratton, like the whole obnoxious rich girl thing, kind of annoying. Her voice and stuff, but. You cannot argue she is athletic. There is something there. It needs a little more seasoning and time and experience. But if she can put it all together in ring wise, there is something there future for her. Like, dude, her athleticism, it's nice. Look what she has going.
Absolutely. I agree. I enjoyed the match. I'm surprised because Wendy's sort of Wendy's sort of the fan favorite.
Yeah.
And she took the L there.
Yeah, that was confused. So last week, she takes Tiffany's card, runs it up, buys a bunch of things, it gets shut off. I was like, is that kind of fraud? She stole someone's credit card and bought things. Like, couldn't Tiffany have a case here for the police to get her? Anyway, it's it's wrestling. You don't call the cops on this stuff. Right. You just handle in the ring. But yeah, and so Wendy chooses the baby face here, and so they have a match right away to settle this, and she loses here. So that was kind of a weird booking decision. Like, I thought you could maybe play this out a little bit longer, like Wendy keeps teasing Tiffany Stratton for weeks to come, and then they have a blow-off match. So not possibly, really happy with the booking.
Maybe possibly Vengeance Day. It could have held out another week. Yeah, and then you have that be at you have that match on Vengeance Day. Something like that.
Pete Dunne took on Draco Anthony. Am I pronouncing
Draco
it?
Anthony?
Draco. God, I'm butchering all these names. He was another new signing, right? From was it the Vegas?
Yeah, I think so.
So
he was out there in Vegas too.
He put up a good match, hard match, but Pete Dunne won, and ultimately, Tony D'Angelo comes out and tries to hit him again with the crowbar, and then led to Pete Dunne challenging them for their match, Steel Cage with weapons next week. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens, man.
Yep.
LA Knight took on Sanga, which is Grayson Waller's new bodyguard.
Yep,
but dude,
Veer's old partner.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Veer's whole part. He's back on TV. He made a comeback on TV faster. Wasn't he technically the one who filmed the Keithley Adam Cole match, posted it, and spoiled the results? Yep. And then they had to go back and shoot 2 different endings or finishes. So that way they told people, hey, there's 2 different finishes. Don't believe that video. There's 2 different finishes here. But yeah. And then he got punished and was off TV for a long time.
Yep.
So, but wasn't his outfit look like Braun Strowman's outfit a little bit?
I seen a couple of tweets too, like, "Yo, this is Braun Strowman."
And then he loses to LA Knight. Like,
yeah,
dude, your big heavy is, his first match, he loses. I'm like, what the hell? That's kind of a weird booking decision as well. We saw the championship summit between Braun Breaker, Santos Escobar. It's pretty much a contract signing.
Yep.
I enjoy Braun Breaker coming out and says, hey, we know how these all go. Let me just throw the table right now. Let's start a fight right now.
Yeah, yeah.
But it got interrupted. Dolph Ziggler showed up from Monday Night Raw, comes down.
Finally.
What'd you think of Dolph Ziggler making his appearance here?
I'm so happy. I love Dolph, man. And I've been paying attention closely to the WWE Twitter page and the interviews that he's been doing with, backstage after the show and, talking about Braun Breaker's tweets directed at Dolph Ziggler. And I was a little disappointed that he didn't show up last week, after the initial tweet talking about Dolph Ziggler's elimination in the Rumble. But then this time, on Monday after the show, he said, maybe I'll show up. It's their big night on Sci-Fi, huh? Maybe I'll show up. And then he shows up, and which I popped. The fake noise in the crowd popped, but I think it took the actual people who were in the seats a little bit to register what was going on. Because again, I mean, if you don't really pay attention to the Twitter, you're gonna miss it. You know what I mean? You're gonna miss the interaction. Yeah,
I saw it. Like Dolph was kind of promo, and one point Roddy walked by him and stuff. So Dolph's been kind of poking fun at some of the NXT people. So that's where kind of this all stemmed from. But yeah, he says he wants to fight Braun Breaker, and he says, I'll fight you after you get done with Santos. Or Braun says, I'll fight you after Santos. He's like, well, hey, you're mentally out of it. You're looking past him. You should be focused on him, not me. So it looks like we're going to get that match at some point. Cool. I think when main roster guys are making appearances on NXT like AJ did, I think it's a good way to kind of bring some star power to the show and hopefully get a ratings boost as well. So,
and it's another way, and it's also ratings boost, definitely, but it's also another way to keep them from having to go on main event to have matches with these guys. Like if you really want to see them against seasoned talent, like I'm almost positive it's only a matter of time before Miz is down there in NXT going at it with someone.
Everyone's going to take turns coming down.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm all for it.
That's going to be the new norm. Instead of debuts, instead of the, every 6 months, new debut or so, we're going to get a new main roster guy.
Yeah, we saw Saray take on Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai's playing just this crazy girl who just talks to herself, and Saray comes out like in her superhuman anime outfit. Love it. It's such a cool entrance. It was just very cool. I'm really excited to see what Saray can do now with this new gimmick, because we touched on people like Io Shirai and other people who have like their initial gimmick kind of runs its course, but then you gotta change their gimmick and give them a little bit of an edge, and that's kind of what helps them get over with the fan. Saray here, this outfit, it's not so much like an edge, but it's still like a very powerful superhuman persona that I think it's gonna be really cool for. I think the fans are really digging it. So still be a strong baby face.
Absolutely.
And then saw Mandy Rose defend her NXT Women's Championship against Kaylee Ray. Pretty good match. Mandy Rose ultimately wins here. We see Io Shirai come out, make the save against Toxic Attraction, and Kaylee Ray and Io Shirai, I guess, are going to be a tag team in the Women's Dusty Cup. We even saw, it was earlier night, Io Shirai was talking to her tag team partner, the one's injured, Stark.
Zoe Stark.
And she's like, you should be in the tournament, but you got to find someone else. Obviously, I'm still hurt. I don't know. What do you think, Kaylee Ray, Io Shirai teaming together?
And I hope that that's not the case, only because, obviously they had already formed that friendship, that bond. Like, hey, you got my back, I got yours.
War games.
So hopefully that was just that. I know a lot of people are just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping for Kairi Sane, or I think I seen someone mention even Asuka. I'm not sure I don't know if something like that's going to happen. But it would make sense. I mean, I think that would be amazing if one of them were to be Io Shirai's partner. And I think Kaylee Ray, for her to lose after all of that, Toxic Attraction, I was a little confused because Mackenzie Mitchell said that Toxic Attraction and what's her name? Indy Hartwell and Persia had left the building or had been escorted out.
Yeah.
But then they came back and helped Mandy win the match. So I'm like, So I would hope that it's not over, only because I don't really like one-offs like that, especially to end like that. So I hope that somehow, some way, Kaylee Ray can get her rematch, maybe with them barred from ringside, or some type of stipulation to where that they can't get involved.
Yeah. So no, I'm curious to see what happens here. So the Women's Dusty Cup, which is a little bit different. It's not running at the same time as the men. It's going to take place after. Yep. So that's going to be a little interesting. So I guess, maybe they want to do the men's first, focus on TV for a few weeks, and the women's go on after. So that's what's going to happen here. But next week will be NXT Vengeance Day. It's going to be on, next Tuesday, February 15th. 5 matches. So, we don't have like a takeover show still, like a pay-per-view or premium live event on Peacock. They're just doing like, I guess, loosely a takeover, but just still on Tuesday night still. So we'll watch that. We'll do a full review next week. And, looking forward to it. Just a lot of good stuff happening, man. So as always, we love talking, breaking it all down. On that note, Brian, let's go home right now. Where can the Kliqsters find you online?
Kliqsters can find me at BrianTronic. See, I said it right this time. You can find me at BrianTronic. You can follow my show, which is still on its way back and returning very soon, at Within the Ropes. That's where you can find me.
I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey83. For everything else, at In The Kliq. Subscribe to us where we get your podcasts at, especially on YouTube. Watch us on YouTube as well. If you want to email me, you can do so at inthekliq@gmail.com. And on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line, because Huey said so.